What started at a $200 deposit into this app is now sitting at $2,900 in this account in just 7 days. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did this so that you can do this too, and with a piece of code that I contributed to in this strategy. What's going on, awesome people of YouTube? Jay here from the Millionaire Mindset YouTube channel. If you've been watching my channel for some time, you would know that I do a lot of indice trading off of YouTube, which I've started to introduce to my YouTube channel by uploading one trading video per week. In today's video, I have an absolute banger for you guys. I'm going to show you how I have an 85 to 90% win rate on the charts, trading the markets in the footsteps of the banks. And recently, I took this $195 account to over $2,000 in its first week. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this if you follow each and every step in this video. So I recommend, if you can't watch this video now, save it to your watch later so that you can watch it tomorrow or in your spare time. This is not going to be some upsell to some $2,000 crazy trading course in the description down below. All of this is completely free value for you guys to watch on YouTube. I don't charge for this information because trading works for me and I make money off trading. I don't need to make money off you guys by selling you a course. So I thought I'd rather teach for free on my YouTube channel so that you can go and try this out for free and develop a successful trading system for yourself. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first platform that I want you to come over to is called tradingview.com. Now, if you're not a trader, understand that this is every trader's gem of a tool to use when trading the markets. So this is a tool where we can go and have a look at the chart of any market in the world, analyze how the candles move, replay markets, backtest hundreds of different strategies, and develop a system that works for you. What you're going to do is hover over the products tab over here, click on charts. You can create a completely free trading account on tradingview.com and you can come over to any market. The three main markets that I trade is US 30, or known as Dow Jones, German 30, also known as DAX 30, and US Tech or NASDAQ 100 over here. I love to trade indices because these markets move very quickly, and on very small moves, you can catch a lot of pips and profits than that of something like Forex, which is currency pairs. So the first thing I will go and do is, when placing my trades, is understand the areas in the market where the banks are buying and selling hard. This is really not going to be difficult to understand at all, as I'm going to give you a piece of code for your chart that you could just go and paste into over here. It's literally just copy, paste from this text document to your chart, and it will add these simple little blocks over here. You will see the indicator will look like this: supply and demand, multi-time frame. And if you click on the settings tool over here, I want you to set your input high resolution to the 2-hour time frame and come over to the 5-minute time frame on your chart. This indicator will then highlight all the areas in the market where the banks have bought hard, moving the market, such as this area at 32151, and this area over here at 31905. And these areas over here, which are these orange blocks, are the areas in the market where the banks have sold hard off of that haven't been mitigated. When these areas are formed, price always has to come back to these areas and fulfill them to continue its movement upwards or downwards. The second thing I will go and do is, as you can see over here, I will go and mark alerts at these points of interest. For example, I've got an alert at this unmitigated supply zone over here. If I scroll a long way back in the market, this supply zone was created all the way back on the 9th of June 2022, which hasn't been mitigated. Mitigated meaning the market traded out of it, it was created, and it's never tapped back into it, which is a valid zone I will count to go and trade off of. I want to show you an example of a zone that has been mitigated that I would not count. Take a look at this area over here. This demand zone was formed. The market came back into this demand zone, fulfilling price. So I will not use this demand zone to trade off of, as since it's been fulfilled already, it won't have a lot of power. Another good example of a fulfilled demand zone is this one over here. Price traded out of it, tapped back into it, fulfilling price. So this is a mitigated demand zone that I will not count. But areas of interest that I would look at is this area over here. Price traded out of it, never tapped back into it, leaving it unmitigated, which then you can set an alert for this area over here. This area over here also being mitigated. You'll see the chart traded out of it, price tapping back into it, fulfilling this demand zone, so this is not an area I would trade off of. Same with the zone over here. These two zones over here being unmitigated, you will see the chart traded out of it, never tap back into price. Price traded out of it, never tapped back into it, leaving them unmitigated. Thirdly, now that we have our areas of interest pointed out, we can't just trade these areas solely. We need to have some kind of entry confirmation, as it is possible for the markets, just like this over here, to trade straight through demand zones. So over here, there would have been no entry confirmation, as the markets can do that. That is going to lead us to our next rule. I do not trade the markets at all until price hits my areas of interest and until my alerts go off. So right now, I would not trade the market. I will wait for either one of my alerts to be alerted and then wait for my entry confirmation, which I'm going to explain to you just in a bit. And don't worry, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you this code completely for free. So that's going to lead us to rule number 2. As soon as we tap into one of our areas of interest for this demand zone, we are going to enable our supply and demand zone indicator again, except this time on the 45-minute time frame. When price taps into our 2-hour demand zone and then forms a 45-minute demand zone, that is our entry confirmation for a buy over here, for example. This would have been an excellent trade to look for over here. And I'm going to backtest this in a bit to show you exactly how to go and place this trade. Let's come over to our chart. I'm going to click on replay and I'm going to go back to some random points over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable my 45-minute time frame. I'm going to highlight my areas of interest. For example, we've got a whole bunch of demand zones over here. We've got a whole bunch of supply zones over here. And take a look at how beautifully price came back to fulfill the supply zone to continue its movement downward. Over here, we have another supply zone which formed over here. Price traded out of it, has never returned to this area to tap into price. So what I'll go and do is I will go and take a rectangular box, go and place a box over this entire supply zone. Let me just go and make this a square box, and I will leave this over here. I will then click on the little plus sign just below this box and click on add alert. So as you can see over here, it's now added my alert. For my demand zone area over here, I will then go and highlight this area, add an alert over here, and these are my 2 areas of interest, which I will not trade the market until price hits this area. So let's go and disable our 2-hour time frame supply and demand zone, and you can see I've got my 2 areas of interest over here. We're then going to go and enable the 45-minute, wait for price to tap into one of these areas. It's now tapped into our area of interest. As soon as a 45-minute demand zone pops up, which shows a lot of buying power from the banks in the 2-hour demand zone, I will go and place my trade, which is my entry confirmation. So I'm just going to play the markets until this pops up. So no entry confirmation yet. We can keep running this. As you can see over here, a supply zone has now popped up, so no demand zone yet for a buy. Let's keep running this market. We've now had a 45-minute demand zone pop up over here, so I will go and place my buy position, leave my stop loss as is, and take the trade to a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio, which this is over 800 pips. I will then also go and mark the area at 1-to-1 risk to reward by drawing a simple line, which is my break even and partials take, meaning I will place 2 buy positions. When I hit BE and partials, I will close one, taking profits, and set my second position stop loss to break even, so it's a risk-free trade. So let's go and have a look and see how this trade runs. Okay, so we've now hit, so as you can see over here, we went straight into TP1, closing profits, which would have been about $400 on a 0.1 lot size. Went straight to TP2, which would have been $800 on a 0.1 lot size, being a total of $1,200 trade. And this is exactly the strategy I've been using to make profits like this again and again over and over to build my account from $200 to over $2,900. Next, you want to go and delete this demand zone as it's now been mitigated, price has been fulfilled, so this demand zone is no longer valid. But we are now tapping into, if I go and highlight this again, into our 2-hour supply zone, which is the zone I've marked out over here. So we can now enable our 45-minute time frame. and have a look for any sell confirmation. So let's keep running this market. And as you can see over here, we've had a demand zone and a supply zone pop up at the same time. So this is a trade that I would not take because it's showing a lot of buying and selling power at the same time. So the market can go either way. So this is not a trade I'll take. I'll keep running this. And let's have a look for any more possible entry criterias. Okay, so over here we've now had another supply zone pop up. Our demand zone has disappeared, which shows us selling power has now entered in this 2-hour supply zone, which is our entry confirmation. So we are going to go and place a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio from the point where the supply zone has popped up, and we're going to go and mark out our BE and partials area, which is 1-to-1. Risk to reward, which is exactly basically halfway. So we can highlight this area with a simple line. Let's go and run this trade and see how it runs. Okay, so as you can see, oh, that went straight through to TP2. So over here, we would have closed position 1, set our stop loss of our second position to break even, and we would have taken profits straight on TP2 immediately. So this trade was over 1,500 pips. Remember, this is 5-minute time frame. So although this move looks small on a smaller time frame, scalping move, this is actually a massive trade. So this now, we are going to go and delete the supply zone as this has been mitigated. So what we're going to do next is we're going to disable our 45 minutes, enable our 2-hour supply and demand zone time frame, and we want to go and look for the next demand zone that hasn't been mitigated. So as you can see over here, this demand zone has been mitigated, this demand zone has been mitigated, but this new one that formed over here hasn't been mitigated. So this is an area we can look for buy confirmations. So let's go and disable the 2-hour and have a look if we get a buy confirmation. And as you can see over here, it traded straight out of it. No buy confirmation. I will then go and delete this, disable the 45 minutes, enable the 2-hour, and go and highlight the next unmitigated demand zone, which is this area over here. For our 2-hour supply zone, you'll see over here, this new 2-hour supply zone formed over here. So these are now my 2 new areas of interest, which then we can disable the 120 minutes, set your alerts at these areas of interest, enable your 45 minutes, and wait for the market to reach your area of interest. So let's go and play the market and see where we get to. See, as you can see over here, another supply zone has popped up, but this is not a supply zone I would trade because we're not in any area of interest. Let's just stretch out our areas over here. So as you can see, if you took the sell, it would have come straight back to break even over here. That is why we only trade the markets in our areas of interest, which is our supply zone and demand zones that haven't been mitigated. So let's continue running this market and see if we hit our area of interest. So as you can see over here, a massive move or spike tapped into our supply zone. A big 45-minute supply zone block has popped up. So what we'll go and do is we'll go and take our sell position over here, and we can go and take a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio, which then again, this is over 1,200 pips. So let's go and run this trade and see what happens. Obviously, we got to go and mark our BE and partials. This is just for good risk management. And let's go and run this trade. Oh, wow. Okay, so as you can see over here, obviously some kind of news event happened. So we would have smashed straight through TP1 and TP2. But as you can see over here, the strategy applies to news events as well. When there is any kind of news events, whether it's non-farm payroll Fridays or something that makes the markets very volatile, they still move in the same set of rules, and that is through big buying power and selling power from the banks and big financial institutions, aka supply and demand zones. So this was another win over here. We can now go and delete the supply zone. We've now tapped into our 2-hour demand zone. So let's go and see if we get any buy confirmation. So we can go and run this market. As you can see, the market starts to consolidate a lot in this demand zone because big banks and financial institutions are starting to buy off this demand zone. So as you can see over here, we've now had a 45-minute demand zone pop up. I'm going to go and place my trade at the candle where this popped up, and I'm going to go and take a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. Just like that. Going to go and highlight my BE and partials, which I've just got a template set for, and let's go and run this trade. Okay, so as you can see over here, about This was about 3 hours into this trade. We tapped into BE and partials, closing position 1, which was just under 2,000 pips. So we've now secured that profit. The second position, we set stop loss to break even, so it's a risk-free trade. Let's see if we hit TP2. Okay, so over here you can see we came back to break even. So our second position would have been no profits and it would have been no loss, but we still secured over $2,000 profits on position 1. That is why I love to use my PE and partials risk management strategy that I've kind of developed for myself to really increase my risk management and win rate in my trades. So what would have been maybe a loss for a lot of people ends up being profitable for me. So this trade, we can then go and leave here and just leave this here to document this trade. And throughout backtesting this strategy for you guys in the last couple of minutes, I have so far taken, this was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 5 profitable trades, which is 100% win rate. But 5 trades is not really enough to go and determine a win rate for the strategy. I recommend do about 200 to 300 trades to kind of determine a good win rate for the strategy. All of these trades were profitable, including the ones that were BE and partial set. And this is exactly how I trade on a day-to-day basis and how I took over $190 to over $2,000 in my first week on that account. So it's the same consistent thing over and over again, and it may seem boring, but trading is supposed to be boring. There's nothing fun about trading. It's supposed to be an 80% waiting game and a 20% execution game, but there's no better feeling than hitting your winning trades like this. So what I'm going to do is to help you out more by getting this indicator over here and this piece of code to load up these supply and demand zones. All you need to do is just follow me on Instagram over here, send me a message, and I'll send you the direct download link to this piece of code over here, which all you need to do is just Control A or right click copy all, copy, come over to the Pine editor over here on TradingView, just remove everything that's there, right click, paste, and go and click on add to charts over here. And yeah, you will see it will take a couple of seconds to load up. And this has now been loaded. By default, it will set to the 60 minutes. Don't forget to go and set it to your 2 hour, add it again and set a second one to the 45 minutes. So in order to go and get that, follow me on Instagram, send me a message and I'll reply to you with the download link. And also I'm going to help you out even more by leaving my entire trading course on YouTube completely for free over here on the screen. It's called Trading 2022, where I've documented my entire trading journey over the last year in one simple playlist for you guys, and how I've gone through the various strategies that I've tested throughout the past year to finding my winning strategy. So what I recommend is if you want to follow that journey, click on this playlist over here. Don't forget to follow me and message me on Instagram, and I'll see you over there.